You're listening to REIA Radio, the nationally trusted name in real estate investing. We dig deep to discover investors' why in real estate. If you want to skip all the BS and get in investors' heads, you're in the right spot. Be one of the thousands to check out REIARadio.com. Welcome to the Real Estate Rundown. This is REIA Radio with Owen Dashner, Denlis Bertrand, and
Ted Kosh.
There we go, buddy.
Yeah. Denlis back in the house.
I know.
Making a cameo.
I did. I decided to surprise you guys.
Completely surprised us, sandbagged us in the doorway.
Yep.
Called us some
you did miss a
called
great
us some
interview.
naughty names.
You missed a great interview, though.
I know. I was listening through the door and I was like, oh, this song's so good. But then
Yeah, dude.
I couldn't open the door to interrupt it. So I was like, I would just stay outside.
And, I mean, Andy Kouri was money. And we didn't have to do much. It was one of the easier podcasts. They're all easy for me.
It was probably the easiest podcast I've ever done. Honestly. Like, that dude told his story without much prompting at all and had such great energy and charisma and did an awesome job explaining things.
It is his first podcast.
That was crazy.
Seriously.
Yeah. He seems like a pro.
Yeah, he's a natural at it.
That's good.
The keynote here was property management company in 2 years from 9 to 2,400.
9 doors to 2,400 doors.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years. And he's got his 2 brothers, and it sounds like, I mean, he didn't explicitly say this, but they're basically all besties. Like, they get to work together every day.
They all run different parts of the companies.
Yeah, took over the business from his father, who started it with his wife, and, his father passed away, and now they took over the family business, and they're just dominating. Like, it's crazy story. Really good.
2,400, you're saying?
Yeah.
And he said his 3-year goal was to get to 100 units of third property management.
When they first started, yeah. And then, yeah. So great.
And
podcast.
then he compares it to one of the biggest property management companies that has 960,000. And I'm like, yeah, how many years did it take him? 40? And he's like, I'll never be that. I'm like, I guarantee you that you probably grew faster in your first 2 years than they grew.
Right.
Yeah. It was really cool. I will say this, though, too. You know, the fact that he is such a family guy, and his dad was kind of like his rock in his life, right?
Use those words exactly.
And that translated into his older brother, Alex, stepping in and becoming the same thing for him, and basically a touchstone for, kind of a pivotal moment in a young man's life, especially when he was 23 years old, his father passed. So, his brother kind of came into the fold and took over, and he said, he's got some big shoulders. So I just thought it was really, really neat to see such a close-knit family operating a business together and wanting to create legacy. And then he's got plans of his own for his 7-month-old son to basically dominate the world.
Wow.
So really, really, really cool, man.
And yeah, he's like sitting there. He's like, how do I do what my dad did?
Mm-hmm.
Does he scrape the paint off the walls? Not lead paint, and or does
got to be RRP?
It's like, but I was like, it's gonna be a different world because he's growing up in systems you created. You guys are hands on. That's how he built his business. In the shit of it, getting it done. I go, but now you're creating systems, so you don't have to be in the shit of it. It's gonna be a whole different type of growth.
Yeah, and from 9 to 2,400 in 2 years has to be heavy on the systems.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and big traction group there. Yeah, so.
I was shocked because there were systems he talked about through their property management software, and I know a lot of people using it. And I'm like, obviously nobody else I know is using it the way it's supposed to be used now.
Dude, how about Appfolio coming to them and saying,
11
tell us
engineers
what we're doing wrong?
From San Francisco.
They flew in
Seriously.
people from California
11
to meet
engineers.
specifically with people, the small, property management, family-owned business, to figure out what are we doing wrong.
Wow.
Legit. Like, it's an awesome story.
And
So
they're-
I'm so excited for
Yeah,
listeners.
don't sell out anymore.
And their new
That's
system
money,
launch was designed partly by his brother Alex. Which
So-
don't tell me you weren't in that interview the whole time. Like, man, we really need to talk to Alex.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, we'll get him on too, for sure. But yeah, just awesome interview. So stay tuned for that coming up in a couple of days. Hopefully you guys can wait because it's a banger. But Denlis, since you haven't been in the hot seat for a while, what's been going on in your world, man?
Happy birthday!
Happy
Thank
birthday,
you. Thank
buddy.
you. So very recently, I'll go a little bit dark before I get bright.
Okay.
Right? So beginning of this month, I went to the doctor, and this should be a heads up for anyone who hasn't done a yearly checkup in a while. Go get your yearly checkup. Check out all your vitals and everything. Make sure that you're in good health. And when I did that yearly checkup, the doctor told me I had high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and I was pre-diabetic.
Oh,
Right? So that was
jeez, man.
yeah, that was like a bullet to the chest kind of thing now. So I was like, okay.
Did you get second opinion?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
But that was enough for me of a week because I knew my lifestyle and how I was eating and how I was just skinning, literally, like just not doing anything, not exercising, not doing anything.
Is that what skinning means?
Yeah.
I don't know that Jamaican term.
I mean, okay.
That is not a Jamaican term, but anyway. Anyway, so when I got that information, it was enough for me to realize that I need to do something about it. And that was like a moment that I decided. I always loved the cycling. I used to cycle when I was a child, all the way up until like I was about 12, 13.
We're talking about bike riding, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I decided, you know what? Let me jump back into it. So
Cycling steroids could have also been a different way. That conversation went. Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't cycle steroids. No.
Okay.
So I jumped on the bike and I pedaled.
There you go. Okay.
There you go.
Now we're in America.
Thank you. So I started at the beginning of June and I set a goal. Do we go into the Golden Nugget?
Man.
There you go.
What an
Yeah.
intro.
It actually flows right into it right there because I feel like definitely when I set that goal, 4 days ago, I set that goal that I wanted to ride 10 miles in 45 minutes. When I started on day one, I rode 10 miles in an hour and 5 minutes.
Okay.
So this morning,
Were
I
you
got up-
dying?
I was dying. I was like, this
Well,
is not
if
it.
this was 4 days ago, it was like 100 billion degrees. With like it was probably like back home for you.
Well, yeah. Well, 4 days ago wasn't my day one. My day one was at the beginning of June.
Oh, all right.
So
all right.
my day 8 was 4 days ago. And at that time, after I rode, I was like, I think I could do 45 minutes. I could do a 10 mile in 45 minutes. It's not a big accomplishment for a lot of people who are custom riding, but it was a big deal for me. So this morning I got up and I went out and I was like, okay, I'm going to actually check to see how fast I could ride 10 miles. So I did the 10 mile check and I did it in 40 minutes.
Nice, dude.
So
That's why you stink so bad.
yeah,
Was
I
it
know,
all
right?
down? Was it all downhill though?
No, and it was against headwind. So it was even more difficult because I do the Big Papio Trail
Okay.
and I take it from Seymour Park, which is off Harrison and 72nd. And then I head south and I got all the way to Highway 360.
Okay.
So that's about 5 miles. And then I spin around and I return. So that's the 10 mile ride.
Yeah.
When I checked the 5 mile split and I saw 20 minutes, I was like, oh, okay. So I paused and I spin and I was like, okay, let me take my time and kind of eat a piece of banana and drink some water, spin back around. And
You
then,
mean fig?
yeah.
Or was
yeah.
it a big banana?
No, it was actually a big banana, not a small one this
okay.
time. And go back like in
In
episode one.
in the Golden Nugget
In the
is what?
Golden episode like 100 and something, where it is you'd find out that conversation. So the Golden Nugget really is, when you set a goal, it really does make a difference. And then you take that action and you have that goal in mind. You don't know what it is you could really accomplish. Because I really set my goal for 45 minutes and I did it in 40 minutes, which is a big deal for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm celebrating. Cheers, Jory.
Cheers.
Cheers, Ted. I mean, Owen.
Virtual
and then Ted. There we go.
cheers from Ted.
So that was today's
Golden Nugget.
So I think what I'm hearing from you is a goal is just a wish until you put a framework and a plan behind it, right? And a
100%.
commitment.
100%.
And so what did you, like, mindset wise, if you're like, man, I had this health scare a little bit, right? So you had cholesterol, high blood pressure, pre-diabetic and all that.
Yeah.
Like, did you freak out when you got that news?
So my level of panic when I heard that was like, because I tend to take things very like chill.
You're
So,
kidding.
No, seriously.
Surprising no one. You're just liming, man.
So yeah, exactly. I just liming. So when I got the news, I was like, okay. Immediately, my logical mind started kicking in. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do to be able to make something happen, make a difference in my health? And I tried going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And
You did that for a while, and I will say you got a little bit buff.
oh, thank you. I lost it
I don't know what happened
since then. Yeah, definitely lost it. But that was, so let me tell you how that happened. I literally attached not spending money in the gym, and I figured out a way, how do I get to be in the gym without spending money? So
Okay.
if you work in the gym, you get paid to work out. So that was my brain telling me, go get a job in the gym, and then you could work out for free.
Okay.
So I got a front desk job in a Genesis, and then I worked out for free.
Okay.
That's why it didn't last, because when I left the job, I left
Because
the
the job sucked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, note to anyone listening to this,
Hey,
be prepared.
sidebar here, but there's this guy on social media named Anatoly. I think it's his handle, and he's on Instagram, and I follow him. And he acts like he's a janitor in gyms, and he wears like basically coveralls,
Overalls.
yeah, overalls. And he'll act like he's mopping the floor, and he actually is mopping the floor. But the thing is, his mop weighs 32 kilograms.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much a kilogram is, but that sounds like a lot of pounds. Is that what's the conversion
I
here?
would definitely check it out.
Is it like 80 pounds?
It probably is like 2.2, I think. I think that's the conversion.
So
2.2.
we'll call it 75 pounds.
Yeah.
Just for conversation's
Yeah.
sake here.
Yep.
So, and he'll act like he's cleaning up, and he'll be like, "Oh, can I mop here?" And there's people doing like 400-pound deadlifts, and like they're squatting 1 million pounds and whatever, and they'll be like, they're annoyed and whatever, and they're like, "Yeah, go ahead, bro." And he'll go and he'll like, instead of just mopping around whatever it is, he'll pick up the bar. They'll be like, no, that's way too heavy.
Yeah.
And then he'll like lift the whole thing with one arm over his head, like
Right.
he's just a beast.
Yeah, he is though.
But yeah, anyway, I don't know why I brought that up, but
Because of the attributing the shitty job to
yes, thank
working
you.
in the gym.
So anyway, I was picturing you as Anatoly with coveralls on.
Absolutely not.
No? Okay.
I had a Genesis Polo, and I was in the front desk telling people welcome, making sure that they scanned their.
Did you have to
fobs.
sell them on gym memberships?
No, I just had
That
to.
is the worst.
Absolutely.
I mean, the worst. When you walk into any gym and it's like you have to sit down and talk to them, and you're like, it's like buying a car. I mean, that's what it feels like. You're just like, okay, pack a lunch because this conversation is going to take forever for $15 a month or whatever it is. You know, I was like,
it was
just take my money, go away.
It was 10. Like I was working for $10 a month in the front desk. But to reel it all the way back into where I was going with it, so that's why, like, I decided to go into riding because gym wasn't working for me. Not gym and the Brock, but GYM wasn't working for me. So, you know, so I decided to,
Inside joke for Omaha people.
yeah. So I decided to go and buy a bike. And that was a very lengthy process because I was like, do I go pro or do I just get it done? And, you know, every time it is, I have a decision fatigue like that.
Mhm.
It always brings me back to the saying that you always repeat. Done is better than perfect. Every single time. That literally has cemented in my mind. So I was like, what would Owen do in this? He would probably buy a shitty bike and just make it happen.
WWOD, what would Owen do?
There you go. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna buy a shitty bike. I wouldn't do exactly what Owen would do, but I'll probably take it up a step. I don't have to spend $1,000 on a bike. My budget was $500
For a bike. Yep.
for everything.
Okay.
So bike, clothing, everything, apparel, everything, any accessories, because you don't just buy the bike and ride. You have to get a helmet, you have to get a shoes, you have to get pedals, you have to get things that happen when you ride. Like if you get a flat tire, you have to be able to patch that, pump it back up, and continue. So all those things are accessories that you need to get after you buy the bike. So
Do you have a full closet of spandex now?
I have 2 spandexes.
You do? Like full body, like they're mid-thigh short onesie, basically?
Yeah, there's one that fits me like it's a all-in-one vest kind of a thing.
I mean, I can kind of picture this now with the tank top you're wearing.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so Denlis in a onesie. All right.
There you go. So, and that basically got me started. And I started on the 6th of June.
Mhm.
I remember it because it's on my app. And that was my day 1. And that was when I went straight into every other day. So Monday I started, Wednesday, Friday. And since then, I've probably missed 1 day. So that's how today would have been my 10th day instead of my 12th
Got it.
12th day.
So
2 days.
Okay, let's peel this back a minute. So we were talking about basically goals and how they relate to progress, and how, you know, wishing for something is essentially having a goal with no plan.
Yeah.
Right. So you put a plan together and you said, I'm committing to do this and I'm going to ride this. And then you put further framework around it by saying, I want to do, what'd you say? It was 10 miles,
10 miles
in 45 minutes.
45
and you
minutes,
beat it by 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Well, the big goal is I want to enter into duathlons.
Say again.
Duathlons. Yeah.
Okay. It's like a triathlon without the swimming.
So it's running, riding, and then running.
Okay. Half of this sounds gross to me, but whatever. I don't like running unless somebody's chasing me.
I absolutely hate running, but it's a challenge. So that's why I decided, the big goal would be to do the duathlon.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for me to ride, I decided to take that down first.
Mm-hmm.
Let me do that. Let me get into a rhythm, and then I could introduce the running after.
I find it really interesting. So I have always been a weightlifter, like even junior high. I started, I think, when I was about 13 or 14, like before I hit puberty, honestly. I was a late bloomer. I was the shortest kid in my class. I was 4'10" and 96 pounds when I got my driver's permit. So 14 years old, shortest kid in my class of 30.
Yeah.
And it was a little rough back then. I got
tiny.
picked on a little bit.
Yeah, you were tiny.
Because I had little man syndrome. I was like, I want to get stronger, bigger, whatever, faster, all
now
that stuff.
I understand why Cullen feels the way that he feels.
Yeah, Napoleon syndrome. And so I've been a gym guy for a long time, and I have always hated cardio. And whenever I've ran for any type of distance, I always end up just hating it or pulling a calf muscle or something, right? It just doesn't work out well for me. So I've been a weight guy. I've always been that way for 35 years, right? Wow. And I know people like yourself who really grasp on to the cardio aspect of things. So they love running. There's runners, and then there's people that are weightlifters.
Yeah.
Generally, they're not the same person.
Yeah, yeah.
Why is that? People hate lifting weights and they enjoy cardio, or maybe they're just like, this is the lesser of two evils. And then there's the opposite of that, which is what I am. Why do you think that is?
Well, I could only tell you my reason why I can't lift weights. And it's because I have this tendon slip thing in my elbows.
Okay.
And when you're doing bench press, deep is always good, right? If it is you do, right. So when you go deep, because I have to bend my elbows more, that's where my tendon slips. There's a slip here.
I'm going to counter your proposal here. What about flies? Can't you just do flies and it's going to exercise your chest the same way? Butterflies.
Yeah, definitely. It will do that, and I could do that.
Yeah, but so you could do dips, flies.
I can't do dips.
Can't do dips
because I still have to bend the elbows.
What about tricep extensions?
So tricep extensions, definitely I could do that too. Okay. I used to do these overhead.
All right.
But again, when I do this, the same problem happens with my elbows. So the problem is when it's under pressure and I have to go deep with my my elbow bends.
Yes.
I know this is very awkward.
Yeah, this is weird.
But anyway, the point is that basically a health issue as to why it is I couldn't lift heavy weights.
Okay. It's just interesting. Like there's definitely people that lift and there's people that run or bike or do cardio related activities, and generally they're not the same people. And health issues notwithstanding and injuries, and I get that. But like I don't know why that is. Some people are just like, I'm a cardio person, I'm a weight person. Like they're generally not the same people.
And I've never looked at it that way. But my question to you is, what about CrossFit people? Because CrossFit people
they're psychos. That's what my take on CrossFit people is. It's complete psychos. I do not understand it. I've talked to a guy that I know him personally. Another CrossFit psycho asked him to, Jake Hathel, asked him to come and join him at CrossFit. And the guy hasn't worked out in since Nam. And he goes in there and this is literally what happened. Like some crazy wall stand thing on his, and he's like, what do we do? Can we ease into this? And he's like, no, get up there, do a wall stand. He falls sideways on the wall because he lost his balance and shattered his pelvis.
Oh my God.
So he was in one of those awkward full ass, he's in a huge, he's in a wheelchair for months and months and months. He's never been the same ever. So I'm just saying CrossFitters are freaking psychopaths. I don't care who I offend with this. I will die on this hill. What is wrong with you guys? Pick one. Lift, cardio, maybe do both. Mix it up. Whatever. But all at the same time. I don't understand it.
But isn't CrossFit both cardio and
it
lifting?
Is, but I'm just saying you can do both without being a psychopath.
Okay. So CrossFit is lifting and cardio.
In weird ways. They combine them in weird ways is all I'm saying. They do weird acrobatic stuff that the human body should not do after you're 30 years plus.
So you're telling me don't go into CrossFit?
No, do not.
Okay, cool.
That's my advice to you.
Okay.
Like, you seem to be latching on to cycling.
What
so
would Owen do?
yeah,
Don't go into CrossFit.
no, hard pass.
Because that was also something that I was thinking of doing, like exploring that now. Like going and doing CrossFit.
Well,
See how it
spoiler
is.
alert for your elbow.
There you go.
You think it's going to be any better than lifting? You are sorely mistaken, buddy. Emphasis on sorely. Okay. Happy birthday to you. How old are you now?
I am
How young are
turning
you now?
34.
34.
Yeah.
Wow.
Aidan said that I didn't look a day over 30, so I'm like, thank you, sir. I appreciate you, Aidan.
He said 40.
You're welcome.
But whatever.
No, he said 30.
Did he?
Aidan?
Well, you were in the room,
I
maybe.
said you look 28.
There you go.
That's
See?
actually what people say about you, Aiden.
Shut up.
Oh, it's always a treat to get Aiden on the mic. All right. So, Denlis, what's going on at the Bertrand household? Now, I want to, okay, if I may, are you still going to do real estate investing?
I am.
Okay.
So here is my plan.
Have we attached a goal and a framework around this yet, or is this
Not
just
yet.
a wish?
You know, I was actually going to add to that statement that you make about the whole wish and goal and tying everything together. Because, again, back to your philosophy, done is better than perfect. I literally made the goal while I was riding.
Okay.
I was like riding, and then I was like, oh, this feels good. Like, I don't feel too sore. What's my time? An hour? Okay, I'm sure I could do this in 45 minutes if I really push myself.
Mm-hmm.
That was not me writing, checking before going out and riding.
Mhm.
It was me assessing while I was riding based on how I was feeling.
Yeah.
That I could set a goal and actually meet it. So it doesn't always mean that you have to sit before you do everything. You could literally create your goals as you go along. It's very possible
Sure.
in any business. And I'm sure a lot of people, including yourself, have done it that way.
This is kind of a stretch, but there's an analogy here somewhere. So I've always been involved in powerlifting. That's more been my jam. So I like to get stronger, right? So if I look better as a byproduct of that whole, emphasis, great. But the whole thing was like, ever since I was a 13, 14-year-old 96-pound weakling, I was like, I just want to get stronger and look better, look better naked, basically. That's kind of the goal, right?
And I'm sure it probably got emphasized when you had 2 daughters.
Sure. But the thing with powerlifting is it's like you have incremental increases over a period of time, right? So you get a little bit stronger each time you go into the gym and you try to add, even if it's 5 pounds. So I want to get 5 pounds stronger than last week. Eventually you hit plateaus. You have to figure out ways to mess up basically your muscle memory and increase your weight and keep pushing through those plateaus until you get to higher levels. When you get to be like 50, like I am, like it gets, it's harder, right? You can't, your body isn't able to do it regardless of the willpower or whatever. And you have lingering injuries and all that stuff.
Unless you cycle.
Unless you cycle. Yeah. Like Denlis. But so where I'm going with this is I was at the gym. Actually, this was Wednesday this week. So we're recording on Friday. So 2 days ago, I was doing legs and I've had a crap ton of injuries to my legs, like calves, hamstrings, quads, ankle, knees. I've had surgery on my knee, like you name it. I've had so many injuries over my life. Legs are always a tricky thing. Like when I try to go heavy, I can go for a period of time and then like I'll get injured and then I have to recover and it just gets old, right?
Yeah.
But the other day I was feeling really good. This is to your point about creating goals on the fly. Right. And I was like, so normally I have a thing where I'll do a set and then I'll add 5 pounds and I'll do another set and I'll do another set and another set. And I add weight each time. And then at the end, I'll decrease and then just do a bunch of reps. Right. This time I was like, I'm sick of being at this like plateau. So I just decided to go heavy and reduce my reps. And like, I ripped off like a killer workout.
Nice.
Like I was sore as hell the next day, but I was like, I hadn't mixed it up in a while.
Yeah.
And my point on this is you have to mix things up in your life in order to reset your goal and your framework and basically your mental approach to, achieving things.
Yeah.
And that's important over time.
Definitely. And to add to that, it's kind of like a general concept where drastic results usually require drastic measures.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to really achieve that, what does Colin call it?
He probably stole it from me.
Probably the big
BHAG?
ass- The BHAG, thank you.
Yeah, big, hairy, audacious goal.
That. So if you really want to do that, then you have to use whether it's techniques or it's some sort of a system that reflects that result. You can't just do step by step by step by step by step by step. Because as you say, it's going to plateau at some point in time.
Yeah, you have to
And-
shock your system
There you go.
at some point, like
Uh-huh.
along the way. You can't just be complacent and rely on incremental growth. Sometimes you have to like mix it up and just
Yeah.
jolt your system.
Exactly.
And you can apply that to business life, family, goals, hitting all your accomplishments. So,
But
yeah.
the good thing that does is that it now creates a higher baseline.
it resets your floor.
There you go. Thank you for saying it in American English.
Yeah.
So
That's what I'm here for. It's part-time translator.
it resets your floor. So now that you have that extra heavy load, in your case, that extra heavy weight, now you could start to add to that at some point in time. Yes, you're probably going to do less reps, but now as you add, maybe you even just keep it at that, and then you try to increase your reps in that weight, whatever that weight limit
Yep.
is, and push that. See if it is you could go beyond. If it's 5 you did, see if it is you could reach 6, and then make a goal for 10 as you're pushing.
Yeah.
And then when you reach 10, stay at 10 consistently and then add 5 pounds, and then you just blew away your
Exactly.
plateau. So that's literally what it is,
So-
you need the shock to reset your plateau.
Darren Hardy wrote a great book about this exact concept in relation to goals, which is called the compound effect. And it's similar to atomic habits, where you just stack things on top of other things that you're already doing. But while you were talking, I was thinking about like other applicable things that have happened with this concept, which, like we mentioned in the intro here, we had Andy Kouri on, and he's just a kick-ass systems and processes guy and like real goal-oriented, family-oriented dude. And when he got here, after meeting him, I was like, man, this guy totally needs to meet. And I had 2 different people that I wanted to introduce him to.
Mhm.
And one was Terry Shanahan, like I mentioned, because he's similar in that mindset. And then Tim Stevens, they're in the same business, property management. Tim is a reluctant property management owner.
Yeah.
And anyway, where I'm going with this is connections that you can layer on to people that you already know that would benefit, meeting you or Aiden or Ted or somebody else. Like, I like to think about those things all the time. Like, who could you use in your life that might help you in some way, shape, or form? Or who do I think you guys might really hit it off because you have similar, outlooks. And that's one thing I think that's not a lot of people do or put thought into. It's just kind of the connection aspect. So being a super connector can really help a lot of people in exponential ways.
Being a super connector has to do with the fact that you have an abundance mentality. Because if you don't have that kind of mentality, you won't want to introduce people to other people. You want to keep all your contacts to yourself.
You're right.
So it's because we have abundance mentality that as soon as we meet someone, we start thinking, oh, how can we help this person? How can we help this person grow?
Who would love meeting this person?
Yeah,
Like,
because we are in the business of making people grow. Like, that's just our personalities and everything. So
I was talking yesterday, actually, I had a good conversation about this, where it's kind of like what makes you happy. And if you don't really stop and think about that, you just kind of go through life, right? Because, it's like, whatever makes my wife happy makes me happy type thing. And if you're
happy life.
yeah,
Mhm.
if you're a dude and you have kids and family and like you got all this stuff, right? So you have your business or your work day, and then you come home and you got your family, and there's managing expectations there. There's doing tasks and providing and all those things. But if you really had to stop and say, what are the things that make me happy? And I love connecting people.
Yeah.
Like, that makes me feel good about me.
Mhm.
Because I don't, here's the real truth, if I'm 100% honest here. Like, I get more out of doing that for somebody else than they probably get out of it. I guess where I'm coming from with this is, I don't know a ton of people that have that same outlook,
Mhm.
but the ones that do, like, I really jam with. You know what I mean? Like, when you have a super connector and a super connector in the same room, it's like, it's weird.
Yeah,
It's like
thinking about
it's like a
basically the same
chemical
thing.
reaction or
Mhm.
whatever. But like, it's like, oh, you should meet this guy, or this gal. And so anyway, my point on that is, like, I get really pumped up when I can see, it's like fixing somebody up.
Yeah,
I know that doesn't always work out, obviously,
I
but
know.
like when you see somebody that really needs somebody like this in their life, and you can put them together, well, there's nothing better. For
You
me.
see where people align based on, you meet this person, you talk to this person, and that's another thing. Like, when you are super connector, like how you explain, it's like you are actively listening to these people's story. So you remember things about this person's story. Whereas if it's transactional, that's relationship based. If it's transactional, they're talking and you're not, because all you're thinking about is the dollar sign.
Yep.
So you remember something about this person, and then every time you talk to someone, that's registered in your subconscious. So you are not even realizing that you're listening for the opportunity to hear where they align and then be like, oh, yeah, I could do that. We could connect. I could connect you to this person and you two would work well together and all these different things. But one of the things I was going to say is that when you talked about being happy about being a super connector, it's more than that. You also feel, even if it's a small bit of fulfillment that exists in that connection. Like you helping other people is a part of you fulfilling something that you always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Whether it's you actually connecting people or you are vicariously living through them connecting with the other person.
Yeah.
But it's a level of fulfillment that goes with that happiness. And that's why it feels so good. It's not just happiness, because happiness is surface level. But as soon as you start hitting fulfillment and it goes beyond the surface and gets a little deeper, that's when it's like, oh yeah, this feels even more amazing, because I can't believe that person went from, let's just say, 9 to 2,400 units because I introduced them to the right person. Just an example.
Yeah.
So it's more than just being happy. It's definitely some sort of fulfillment in there. In your case.
And it's weird too, man. Like, when I look back on the work I've been involved in before I got into real estate investing, and then like especially after that, but before that, I fell ass backwards into a career in recruiting, and my whole job was matching up people, like candidates, with jobs they were qualified for at client companies. So I was constantly a matchmaker, always. And that was the best feeling whenever I found like somebody that really wanted a job or to work in that career, and a company that really wanted to hire them, and I got paid for it.
Yeah.
And it was like,
exactly.
I mean, the money was great because I needed it because I was starving, but the satisfaction out of that was great.
Yeah.
And then seeing after that, the people that actually like rose up through the ranks in that company, and then they became managers, and then they wanted to work with me because I hooked them up with the job originally. I mean, that was the ancillary benefit, but it wasn't the reason why I stuck with it.
Yeah, it's never.
And so I did that career for 20 years. And the reasons I left it were more of just wanting to control my own schedule and wealth creation and comfort and, freedom of schedule and all that. But that aspect of my job I loved, man.
Yeah.
And it was nothing better than calling somebody and saying, are you ready? Because I have an offer for you. Like, that's the best part of my job. It wasn't like, hey, you didn't get the job. Sorry. I hated that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, translating that into the real estate world, it's, kind of similar to how agents work. So you're matching up buyers with, properties they want. I would imagine, I've never been an agent, but I've been involved in a lot of transactions, and it seems similar to that. But the payoff is, if you're only doing it for the money, it's not as satisfying.
And most agents do it for that.
Yes.
Most agents do it because it's a sales job. And, with sales jobs, there's no cap. So you could, you could do whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. But that really takes some introspection, because like, if you just say, okay, what makes me happy? Well, having money makes me happy because I can provide, and like I have all my bills covered, and I'm not feeling anxiety about, money. But if what you're doing is actually affecting other people in a positive way, and you don't have any expectations about getting anything out of it other than the feeling, I don't know. So that's where I'm going with this. And Aiden's giving us the wrap up signal here.
Yeah.
Like, but I haven't seen you in a while, man. We gotta catch up.
I know. And it's like, I wanted to continue, but now that Aiden gave me that signal, I think we should really do wrap up. But you asked me about half an hour ago if I'm going back into real estate, and the answer is yes.
Okay.
But again, there is a goal and there is a plan. And I think I said it on a couple of podcasts before when I did another cameo appearance, that our goal right now is to pay off some bad debt that we have.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to get rid of that bad debt.
Good plan.
And then we could move into what is the next step. And I think the next step for us is to buy a second home and rent this one.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's probably where we would, that's the next goal. So stay tuned. I mean, I put it out there now. Today is the 27th of June, 2025. So we have a goal for buying our second home in 2027, but I feel like it's going to be before that, because I allowed my wife to set that timeline because she's very conservative. So I'm like, okay, yeah, let's play it safe and let's do 2027. But I feel we could do it before.
Yeah, you totally could do it before.
Exactly. And I think based on our projections, hopefully by the end of this year, we should pay off the bad debt that we have once we stay consistent with the way that we are attacking it. And once that happens, I'm very confident that by next year, we could have that second home.
Love it.
So, and I have the right partnerships with people. I mean, you and Brad and other people that I could definitely reach out to help me figure out how can I get this second home, and then how can I rent this other place? What do I need to do? That kind of stuff. So
I love that you said, how can I, not can I.
yeah,
I love that. That's not a small thing.
it definitely is not, but it's so ingrained in me because I've been around you guys so much. And again, we could go to something else, but I know Aidan said to wrap up, but I have to say it. When you surround yourself with the right people, your mind changes. And the way that you attack almost impossible things or things that seem really crazy, when you are around the people that have done it and it is like a small feat for them, it's like it gives you more motivation to rewire your thinking. And then again, it's not that can I do it? It's more like how can I do it? Who do I know? Who, not how? That kind of stuff. So definitely.
Wise words from the Jamaican
Trinidadian
prophet. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. They get that a little too much. They joke about it, but I am actually from Trinidad, but we have an inside joke about Jamaicans. So sorry, Jamaicans. Love you guys. Anyway.
All right. So what typically happens here is Ted will kind of wrap this up in a concise way and then kick over to me for the outro. Let's see if you got this in you.
Wow. Okay. So I don't know what Ted does, but I could definitely say if you're listening to this and you haven't subscribed to REIA Radio, definitely subscribe. And we on YouTube, we on Spotify, we on
5-star
Apple
reviews
Music.
are appreciated.
Oh yeah, of course.
And sharing.
Look, and I'm sure Ted does not look directly into the lens, so I am doing it. 5-star reviews, written reviews. Don't say that I'm Jamaican. And Owen is going to take us out.
On behalf of REIA Radio, Denlis Bertrand, the Buzzkill, Aiden Bear, and the absent Ted Kosh, I'm Owen Dasher, and you've been listening to the Real Estate Rundown.
Cheers, guys. There you go.
Happy birthday, bro.
Thank you.
You didn't do the soprano version this time.
I know. I'm getting older.
You are.
He's,
Tomorrow.
he's maturing out of that voice.
There you go.
I think I see a couple of grays up there.
No, there's more than a couple, I can tell you.
Is that why you went high and tight on the sides?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a sporting a new haircut
help
today.
I know.
I gotta move over.
No.
No? Here?
Go where you want to go there.
I'm just fucking with you, man.